We're going to start. You ready?
Perfect.
All right. All right. Today on the Best Specials of Rome show, I have Jeff Holloway.
Hello.
Good friend, great coach. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jeff, and then I'm going to ask him a whole bunch of questions so he can tell you guys about him.
Perfect.
This is like, look at the camera, look at Jeff. I don't know. We'll go back and forth. All right. So Jeff is the founder and co-owner of Rome Strength and Fitness. We also call that RSF, so you'll hear me say that. He has his master's in health and physical education. He's a CrossFit level 2 trainer and holds certifications for USA weightlifting level 1, precision nutrition level 1, CrossFit endurance, and he also has a wilderness first responder certification.
I can help you in the woods.
Yes, he's who you want. His business, RSF, is a comprehensive health and wellness company that represents the idea that there is much more to being healthy than a daily workout. It's built upon the foundational belief that a strong community supports overall greater health improvement. Rome Strength and Fitness promotes camaraderie, social connection, and lifelong friendships through coach-driven strength and fitness and nutrition programs. I am a testament to that. My core group of friends is right here in this building, so I think they do a great job at that. So, welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to be doing this. All right, so first question.
Yes.
I'm curious, what made you decide to be a coach?
Well, the first foundational coaching way back when, I love the idea of the progressive building of an athlete.
Love that.
High school strength coach, that's what I wanted to be.
I love that. That is, we do that in our physical therapy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just progressions.
Yep.
What are some of the most common fitness health issues that you encounter as a gym owner?
That's a great question. I would say it's way less of people. It's not that they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the support and accountability of doing the thing that they already know to do or know almost what to do.
Yeah.
But the support and accountability is where we really help people thrive.
That's awesome. I would agree on that too. Okay, so I'm going to call you the accountability guy.
Sure.
If you could stack nothing but one type of client on your schedule. So you do a lot of getting to know people when they're not sure what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the most interesting kind of person to you, or the person that RSF is the best at helping?
Oh, that's great. So a decade ago, I would answer this different.
Yeah.
A decade ago, I wanted an athlete, somebody who loved the hardness of a workout, somebody who wanted to get really strong. And that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really like if I can see bandwidth to improve.
Yeah.
Those make me excited. It is either emotionally, relationally, community driven. I can't physically squat. I was in a car accident. I've never been in a gym. Master's case is people haven't been in a gym in 60 years.
Yeah.
I love those because 2-3 years down the road, they do these like social media posts of them picking logs up in their children. That makes me excited.
I love that. Yeah. So the person who has like the most to gain,
Mm-hmm.
who's the furthest from fitness.
And we have
maybe.
studs in here.
Yeah.
But a lot of the studs that people see now, they didn't see 5 years ago, and they
Mm-hmm.
weren't studs then.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants to be that person today.
Yep.
They don't see the 5 years it took to get
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So what does the journey look like for someone who comes in to meet with you who's interested in RSF?
Yeah, so we call it a no sweat intro.
Okay.
The reason it's a no sweat intro is they don't sweat when they meet with me.
Like
they
that.
might be nervous.
Yeah, they might be sweaty.
We're actually sitting at the table where people do the no sweat intros. They just sit on that side. What I do is I go through, I get to know who they are. What are they about? What do they do? What's important to them? What even brought them in through the door? Because I feel like unless I understand the reason behind what they're looking for, we can't really help them because we have
Right.
so many offerings here.
Mm-hmm.
We have personal training. We have group classes. We have group classes in small groups. We have group classes in big groups. We have conditioning bias programming. We have strength bias programming. And until I get to know what they want or what they're looking for, I can't really help them, guide them that way.
Right.
So
that kind of leads into the next one. I'm going to circle back to something there.
Yeah.
But when do you recommend to that person a group setting versus personal training? What helps you make that kind of decision?
Spidey sense. Whenever somebody has either really big goals, very specific, this thing's happening, I'm on a timeline, I've got an event, personal training is the fastest way to get there.
Yep.
The other one is if there's a lot of risk associated. We can deal with the risk. I would rather risk being in a one-on-one setting. How many times have I called you, Lindsey, to go, a lot of risk, what would we need to do? Is being able to go, if there's risk or a very specific BHAG, big, audacious, hairy goal that they want to get after, I'm always going to lean towards personal training. Even if not long-term, at least to get the ball rolling.
I like that. What about recommending CrossFit versus X4? So you've got those two different types of group classes.
The conversation I have there is, if we were to talk about CrossFit and X4, one's a little bit more of a conditioning bias programming. One is more of a weightlifting bias programming. A lot of times people come in with an idea, but if they keep going, I want to do X4, I want to get stronger, I want to get stronger, I want to get stronger, I want to get stronger. X4 is awesome. I would argue that the on-ramp to X4 is easier to get into. But if we want true strength gain, we've got to go to CrossFit. So that's how we differentiate between the two.
Awesome. So kind of talking about that, what led you as an owner to expand from just having CrossFit to now having all these different options, the personal training, small group, 2 different kinds of group fitness, master's classes? How did that evolve?
All right, so this could get on a tangent.
Yeah.
I sit in a space, so our mission is to transform people's lives through fitness, nutrition, and accountability. And that's not a one-size-fits-all. CrossFit is great. I like the methodology of CrossFit. That's the training philosophy or how we train athletes. But I would get to the point where people liked our community, liked us, but didn't like our offering. If people want group-based, coach-led fitness options, and we don't have that option, but it still fits under the umbrella, why wouldn't we?
Right, exactly.
If I have somebody who, let's talk about master's class. If I have somebody who's 73 years old, needs functional fitness, needs weightlifting, needs to learn how to pick things up off the floor, but is so intimidated to get into a regular CrossFit class, they're going to say, no, I can't do it. We've got a problem. Or if I have a demographic of somebody who wants to be in a coach-led class, wants to be around people, like-minded individuals, wants coaching, wants community, but don't necessarily want to touch a barbell, that demographic, we was like, sorry, we don't have anything for you. So that bothered me, is to go, if it's inside the coaching world, if it's inside the fitness world, and we can do it, why wouldn't we? But then there's certain things in the fitness world that we're not going to do. I think Pilates is great. I don't know anything about Pilates. I'm a strength coach. So that's kind of how we decide what we do, what programs we do, and why we've offered different things inside the gym.
And I've personally gotten to experience that, having rotator cuff surgery. I couldn't do CrossFit. There were a lot of things in there that just didn't work for me, so I was able to still keep working out, do X4 for a while, and make this transition and bridge the gap to what really lights my fire versus, just checking the box. So I appreciate that. Deadlifts are what it is. Awesome. How about, kind of shifting gears a little more, a client success story or somebody that stands out to you that when you think of like all the awesome things that happen here at RSF, this is the person you think about. Could you share their story?
I struggle with this. There's so many.
I know.
Think about one. Getting a little overwhelmed. Shoot, I'm not very good at this question.
I know, this is hard. I have the same problem. There's so many.
Let's go Sherry.
Yeah, she's mine too.
Sherry is probably the one that I'm floored. Sean's another one. Floored by what they're capable of. When they first walked into the gym, they were very apprehensive. They will tell you that. They were very... a little intimidated by what the program is, to see how strong and able-bodied they are now. And how old?
I don't really think about people's age. Isn't that terrible? It's a factor, but I don't even want to say a number.
I don't know. They're over 50.
Over 50, yeah.
So that floors me when I see that. I mean, my mom, she's 72, 73, just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, clipping right along. And then we have the things that it's harder to put on paper, but we've had people with significant emotional and family trauma that those are the ones that'll make you cry. But those are the ones when they find a new kind of spirit of life in here and the support system. And we've got a few actually in X4 that have some super strong stories. It's not the weight lifting, it's not the weight loss, but it's still, I would argue, just as important And we have a decade of those stories.
Right.
So
yeah, I'll share one. Also, my son does personal training, which has been a huge thing for us, for him to be involved in a community that we're a part of and means a lot to us, but we didn't know that he would ever really get interested in.
Yeah.
So having that as an option, he's going to do a group class this summer. It's just really cool.
Him doing that allowed for my second daughter to go, okay, I'll do it. So she's going to do it in July.
Yes,
so
that's awesome.
one leads the fire to
like
another.
Positive peer pressure.
Yes.
Love it. What is one thing you wish everybody knew about RSF?
You do not have to be in shape to start.
Amen.
I would say that a lot of times people, I was explaining to somebody the other day, was like, I don't want to do CrossFit, I don't want to flip tires. We haven't had tires in years.
Long time.
But it's the perception of what
Right.
we do. I feel like a lot of times I spend more time telling people what we don't do than what we actually do. You can be in absolute terrible shape.
Yeah.
And I get more excited about the transformation of taking somebody through, they're pre-diabetic and they have comorbidities and their blood work's terrible and they're sedentary and they don't know what to do and they're intimidated to come. Mm-hmm. That is a sweet spot for some life transformation that jazzes me up.
Yep.
That kind of stuff.
Agreed. What about, because lots of people are fearful of injuries when they start working out, so what advice would you have for somebody who's looking to make sure they don't get injured or try to prevent injuries, but they want to stay active?
Absolutely. So I like the mantra, technique, consistency, intensity.
Yeah.
We want to be able to move well. And once we have proven that we can move well, we want to move well consistently. Once we have proven that we can move well and we can move well consistency, then we add intensity. And intensity can be through heart rate, can be through loading or weight on the bar or on the person. It can be through volume, which is how many reps. But a lot of times people, if you skip that order, I'm going to hit intensity first, you're turning the triangle upside down. Or I'm going to hit consistency, which is I'm getting into fitness and I'm coming every day. Let's temper that just a little bit.
Right.
Let's move well first. And by moving well, it's stretching, it's sleeping well, and all the other stuff of nutrition. It's being coachable. We don't talk about that a whole lot, but that whole idea of the ego and what that serves. And yes, it's a motivator, but we are a coaching service, so we want to be able to coach, and we have a bunch of experts here. And our objective is to help. So,
like that.
Technique, consistency, intensity.
Yeah, that's one of my
In that
favorite
order.
tenets, and I try to talk about that every day. We see even somebody who knows that principle, but maybe they took a month off. They forget about that principle.
I've worked with you.
And they are like, but I used to be, used to be able to do this. Well, no, you got to, that principle holds true no matter what you're doing, whether it's running, lifting weights, anything. What about any recent advancements in the fitness industry that you're excited about? Anything new?
Ooh, I'll tell you, I'll pick on a whole category.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of science right now for pre and post menopausal women. Okay. My wife is starting to get into that. So she starts getting into the 40s. There's so much studies now coming. What does sprinting, jumping, and lifting weights do for ladies that need more? We call it resistance training. The easiest way to resistance train is weightlifting.
Right.
But weightlifting does not mean maximal weightlifting.
Right.
It just means loading. I would say that we've known this for a long time, but now studies are starting to back that up to go resistance training. Even resistance training with some type of external weight in X4, even though we lift bars in CrossFit, massive impact. That's the biggest thing that we're seeing right now.
And we see the back end of that of women who are in their 70s and who thought that was bad and thought that they would get bulky and never lifted weights, are now dealing with osteoporosis and osteopenia and bone injuries. And that's frightening, but it's exciting that we're talking about it now and that people are becoming aware of it.
Catch up.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Any last parting things that you think would be helpful for somebody considering joining RSF in any capacity?
Everything's worth the conversation. Because that's the thing is even if I'm not the person, in this town I know somebody to talk to. We've got some great personal trainers in this town. We've got some good gyms in this town. But everything's worth a conversation. What I say is I sit in a role of being able to clarify decisions.
Yep.
I help decisions be made.
I love that.
I'm not selling anybody on anything. I'm guiding them to, what do you want? Where's the gap? Who can help you in that area? Because everybody needs help in some way.
Right. Well, and that helps them establish a goal, which is a huge part for sticking with something and not just
What's your
quitting.
North Star?
Yeah, I like that. All right. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you if they're interested in talking about RSF?
Yeah, so my email is jeff@romesf.com. My number is 770-906-0176. And our email is, our website is romesf.com.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.